Hello everyone, Carm3D on the tube. And if you're watching this, you're on the tube too. Is it still warm? So today I'm going to give you a look at the rigging process I'm going through with this guy. I'm about 2/3 of the way done. Everything's done except for his front legs. Oh, and his tail. This is my second character using IKBooster. And I'm still kind of a newbie at it. But every time I use it, I learn more, and I learn more every time I talk to Larry Schultz, aka Spline God, who's helped me out a lot over the years. Thanks, Larry. And this is going to be a very different workflow for me because normally I use the normal active IK, and this time I'll be using the passive IK, which limits me in some ways and opens up other areas in other ways. So it's going to be a different workflow for me, and we'll just see what happens when I start animating with them. So if you've ever touched the IKBooster, you know it's got this little feature where you can pull the handle out, make things easier to pick. Right now, this is the only bone that I have locked. When it's solid like that, that means you go into the right mouse button menu and you choose Fix. And now that won't move. So I can pick this hoof bone and then move it around. You're going to notice these guys are moving around because they don't have bones yet, but that's okay. And if I drag, he doesn't get pulled along because, well, for two reasons. One, because this guy is locked, but also because the parent of this guy, which is currently locked off, I can't pick him in here, is IK stop. Right there, that one is selected on its parent. If I turn that off, I could pick and drag this and his body will be pulled along. But with IK stop right about there, the IK stops right there. Nothing affects it beyond that part of the hierarchy. Now, to lock the rotation of the hoof, you can see that when I drag the hoof around, it just rotates freely along with the leg that's connected to it. I can fix this guy, and now when I whoopsie, I need to fix them both. There. Now his hoof stays in the same orientation. And also it's worth noting, let me pull up my scene editor here, find his hoof. Here it is. So I should have called that hoof instead of foot. But anyway, that's his foot. You can see it's gold, or yellow. Hoof support. And normally this would be sprouting off at the end of this last bone, but I moved it up here basically to get these points at the top of the hoof to be more stable and not to deform when the foot rotates. Let me turn the fix off there. So when it rotates in, this part of the hoof does not collapse. It maintains its shape. Okay, but on top of that, there's the foot base. Okay, there's a foot base. The foot base is locked off. I cannot select it. Whenever you put a padlock on there, you cannot select it into the IKBoost interface. But when you put a base bone in there like that, and then you modify this bone, that means that actually what that means is if I grab the upper portion of the body, this bone does not rotate. Let me lock these off and show you. I'm learning that using IKBoost means you're constantly changing those fixed bones, like stating which one's fixed and which one is not. So if I grab this guy and I move him, you can see that the hoof stays completely stationary. If I did not have that base bone preceding the foot bone, I believe that the hoof would be waggling around. It would be affected by the body's movement. So that's just a caveat of IKBooster. I'm sure after I'm done with this animation, I'll have learned a whole lot more about IKBooster. But let's reset that. Let's move this up here. Another neat thing that I can do, this is going to be my second animation with a quadruped. And in the last animation with the quadruped, this bone and this bone, this bone and this bone had the IK, but this one did not. Oop, no, I can't select it. There it is. So what I had to do was move the hoof around and then rotate this part of it, and it really slowed things down. It was a real pain. But with IKBooster, I can simply put the hoof where I want it to go and lock it down, and then just drag this and basically change the bias of the IK solution between these three bones, because normally IK only works with two bones, or works best with two bones. But with IKBooster, you can get away with more. You can change where you want this thing to be exactly. So that's going to be interesting to see when I'm animating. I think it's going to save a lot of time. And let's see what else we got. There are a whole bunch of bones that I've hidden that are not necessary for animation, but they just basically, whoops, they basically maintain the shape of these guys. Let me zoom in here and show you. So you can see all these bones. I have this ends with SUF. SUF. Those are support bones. And you can see right here is one. This maintains the volume of this general area here when this bone rotates. Oop, now I'm going to unlock these guys again. Unfix. Unfix. I should be saying fix instead of lock. You can see that this volume here does not move because it's got that support bone there. Same thing here. If I rotate this one, I'll just do it this way. If I rotate this guy, the volume stays pretty much the same. Alright, another thing I did put an elbow in this area here that rotates via an expression. Here he is. Let me just unhide that so I can show you what's going to happen. When this bone rotates, you can see that this bone rotates half as much. So that's just to keep that looking natural. I guess it's natural, I don't know. I'm not a quadruped, but it'll look good enough. And let's see, what else is there to show you here? I guess I'll show you the basic workflow that I'm envisioning while animating this guy. There was one thing I did in my previous animation with the quadruped that I don't know if I can pull off using IKBooster. What I did was I had a bone, well, I had the spine, and then I had another bone going from here to here. This one moved up and down. This one had a goal, an IK type goal. And so what I basically did was I animated the spine moving along the route that he was supposed to move, but he moves kind of like a hoverboard or a hovercraft. It was very smooth and unnatural, but smooth. And then so that was pass one of the animation. Move the body. Then I animated the foot going wherever it's supposed to go, following the body. And then on top of that, based on his hoof steps, I had this other layer of spine that basically moved up and down. I could move this end up and down, I could move this end up and down, and it would essentially change the pitch of the body and make it look like the hind portion was bobbing up and down and the shoulder area was bobbing up and down based on what his hoofs were doing. And so that three-layer system, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get away with that, because if I do something like that, have this part move up and down after I animate the legs, his legs are just going to move up and down with it, unless I go and fix these guys every time I do that. I don't know, that's going to be weird, because if I do that and set keyframes and don't have the same keyframes as the foot has, it's still going to wobble up and down. There's going to be like timing errors, if you will, that will cause the hoof to no longer be fixed when I would prefer it to stay fixed. So that's something I'm going to have to deal with. But let me reset, show you how I envision this is basically going to happen. So basically I'll move him. What I'll probably do is turn the legs off, set them to be FK only, which means they won't do this type of deal. They won't be fixed or anything like that. So I'll move his torso around on his route where he's going to go, and then change these from FK to IK, and then as he moves, like if he moves over here, then I'll have his foot, I'll say okay from here, I'll animate over to here, and then he'll be fixed, and then the body will move again, and there you go. You can see that's basically how it's going to work, I think. I won't know for sure until I actually do it, because this is going to be a different workflow for me. But I think that's about it. I do have a bunch of bones in here that are hidden, that are basically it's like more of these rings, these blue rings. I got more of these in here, keeping this area from collapsing when the bones move around. And if you can see, let me unlock that guy. I'll change him to like green. That will make him easier to see. There, you can see him as green now. This is a stretchy bone, and that is normal IK. I got the I can't select him. He's still locked. Let's pull up the motion options. He's got inverse kinematics, and inverse kinematics are on the Z scale. So basically, this portion of the thigh from here to here will stretch. You can see it stretching based on whatever the leg's doing. So that looks fairly natural, I think. So yeah, that's it. We got this going on here. You can move his spine around, although in the animation I don't foresee him doing a lot of that. This part just is not flexible here. And of course we have the neck. This is really going to be weird for me. I'm going to have to like learn new things. As you can see, I'm constantly going to be locking and unlocking, fixing and unfixing bones. Here's the head bone. If I fix this guy, there. Now I can animate the head. So, it's going to be interesting. We'll see what's going to happen. I'm going to now complete the rig. Give him some front leg bones and the tailbones. And, yeah, I'll let you know when I have something interesting to show you. Bye-bye!